The tragic story of the Air India survivor. The only survivor! Uh-oh. That must be terrifying. Come on. There we go. 2025!
And his brother are ready to board their flight.
Ooh.
The temperature is pushing 37 degrees Celsius.
Oh, that's hot.
This Boeing 787 bound for Gatwick Airport is supposed to take them home to London.
To London.
Vishwash Kumar sits down in seat 11A.
This
his
is
brother
recent.
is across the aisle in 11J.
Oof. Ooh.
At this point, of course, neither of them knows what's about to happen.
Oh my god.
Shortly after takeoff, both engines fail.
Oh!
The aircraft loses altitude and crashes into a compound. 241 people on board are killed. 19 more die on the ground.
Oh no.
Only one passenger survives.
Wow.
It's Vishwash Kumar. His brother doesn't make it.
Oh.
The images go viral. The sole survivor just leaving the crash
crazy.
site on his feet.
The passenger in seat 11A
How did he live?
To tell a tale about what had happened.
Bro, you rolled the dice, man. That's insane.
When he's interviewed at the hospital the next day, he has no words.
What was the situation yesterday? Can you describe for us, please?
I can't explain. Everything happened in my eye. I can't.
Vishwash Kumar
What does he mean
is
by
not the
that?
only
By an
one.
eye? Just can't
Time and again,
remember.
there have been horrible plane crashes that only a handful of people
Chad, don't watch this if you're going on an airplane.
survive. In this video, we'll look at 4 of those deadly tragedies and at the people who somehow made it out alive. The Air India disaster with only one survivor. A jumbo jet that slammed into a mountain. A girl who fell from the sky.
Oh, I know about that one.
And a plane exploding into a gigantic fireball. Were those who walked away just incredibly lucky? Or is there something they all had in common? And what would really help you in the extremely rare event of a plane crash? This video deals with catastrophic accidents. But overall, flying has become extremely safe, and it allows you to visit places across the globe.
True.
Look at Lens, for example, one of our 3D animators.
Hey, I'm currently in China. When abroad, I always use
Hello.
Sail to get an eSIM. It's a no-brainer. Easy to install, available for basically any country, and the
eSIMs
prices
are pretty
fair.
useful, though,
I'm
not
going to
gonna
be working
lie.
remotely in different countries in Southeast Asia for a few months, cooking up some animations for you guys on the go. So this time I
Wow.
went with Sail Ultra.
Animations.
It's a subscription where you get unlimited data globally. Also access to airport lounges and fast-track services. And you get access to NordVPN,
My dad
NordPass,
once
NordLocker,
got
and
clapped by
Incognito on top to stay
roaming
safe abroad.
charges.
I can only recommend it. The value for money is really solid.
Low key though, my dad got clapped by like probably $300 worth of roaming charges because he didn't realize.
No matter if you're Lens
Yeah.
checking out East Asia or just on holiday for a few weeks,
It's actually
Sadie's got
probably
you
pretty
covered.
useful.
Head over to
Yeah,
sadie.com
he hated that.
/FriendTV or
He's
scan
so
this QR
mad.
code to get an exclusive 15%
It's
discount.
probably cheaper.
Download the Sadie app and use code
Easy to
FriendTV at
use.
checkout. And with that, back to the story. The investigation into the Air India Flight 171 crash is still in progress. But there's a preliminary report that helps us better understand what most likely
That's always
happened.
fascinating to me, the physics and stuff.
When the plane starts losing altitude, it first strikes several trees.
Yep.
Then, only 32 seconds after takeoff, it crashes into a compound. The buildings accommodate doctors and medical students working at a local hospital.
Oh
On
no,
impact,
are
the
those
nose
people
of the aircraft
okay?
is slightly pitched upward. The tail section is sheared off at the edge of the first
Oh
building.
man.
The rest of the fuselage keeps
Ow.
thrusting forward, tearing through walls and ceilings with devastating force.
Oh my lord.
First, the right wing breaks off.
Yeah.
The aircraft then slams into the next building, causing the left wing to come off as well.
Ah!
The wings and this part of the fuselage carry the fuel tanks. Vishwash Kumar is seated just ahead of that entire section.
Oh my god, the panic,
Evidence
bro.
suggests the fuselage may have fragmented again, separating him even further from the wings. Being seated by the window and being separated from the wings and fuel tanks may have slightly increased Vishwash
Yeah,
Kumar's
I can
chances
see
of
that.
survival.
No explosion? Yeah, that's
This way,
lucky
his seat was not
actually.
exposed to the gigantic fireball that occurred upon impact.
There's an explosion.
In interviews following the
Jeez.
crash, Vishwash Kumar said he escaped from the wreckage through an opening next to him. It's unclear whether that
Wow.
opening was caused by a rupture in the fuselage or whether the emergency exit door had been blown off.
It's just a matter of time
Kumar
before
was
it
the only
explodes, huh?
survivor. He left the crash site on his own feet with only minor injuries.
That's
But
insane.
one extraordinary case is not enough to draw any real conclusions. So, we started looking for patterns.
Ooh.
These are all the major commercial aviation accidents we could find since 1970 that only
I mean, statistically, that's not terrible. Considering how many airplanes take off every single day, every hour across the world, let alone the United States.
had 1 to 5 survivors. The
Yeah.
larger the circle, the more passengers were on board.
Yeah.
The yellow dots represent survivors.
Yellow dot, yellow dot, yellow dot.
This is the deadliest single aircraft disaster in history.
Wow.
Japan Airlines Flight 123. And this is Air India Flight 171. That single yellow dot is Vishwash Kumar.
Wow.
Our research was in part inspired by similar data analysis conducted by Reuters.
That's so
The news
cool.
agency reviewed 1,400 commercial aviation accidents and found 45 cases where only 1 to 5 people survived.
Wow.
For 20 of them, they could even identify the survivors' seat numbers or approximate seating locations. So, does where you sit on a plane affect your chances of survival? Vishwash Kumar was seated here in the front section of the aircraft. Of all known survivors from major plane crashes in the last
So-
55 years, 14 were seated here.
Oh.
19 of them were seated in the rear sections of their respective
Okay,
planes.
so maybe it's not correlated.
So were Yumi Uchiai and 3 other female passengers on Japan Airlines Flight 123.
Oh, geez, I've heard about this one, I'm pretty sure.
The
yeah,
Boeing 747 is
85.
en route from Tokyo to Osaka. The flight is completely booked with a total of 524 people on board. It's the day before a major 3-day holiday season in Japan. Many passengers are flying home to see their families, including Yumi. She's actually a flight
Yumi!
attendant at Japan Airlines.
Oh my
But
goodness.
today she's off duty and traveling as a regular passenger.
She survived because she's a
seated
League of
in row
Legends
56
character.
and casually flipping through a magazine.
She
Then
attached
she hears
herself
a
to
loud
someone
bang.
else.
The cabin pressure drops. Oxygen
Oh,
masks fall from the
shit.
ceiling. A large part of the jet's 10-meter tail fin has broken off. It will
Uh-oh.
later be revealed that the plane's so-called pressure bulkhead was not repaired properly after a hard landing 7 years prior.
Yikes.
Now that part breaks into several pieces and
Uh-oh.
destroys critical control systems. From that moment on, the pilot can no longer control the plane.
Oh,
It starts climbing
shit.
and descending on its own, while simultaneously rolling and yawing from side to side.
Oh my god.
Yumi gets
what
up
do you
from his
do,
seat.
bro?
She's trained for this and knows how to assist the crew.
Dude,
She shows passengers how to put on their oxygen masks and life vests and how
I think the most terrifying is that he can't even control where to take it. Yeah, because if you think about it, like, yeah, obviously you don't want to be the air pilot that has to fucking land the plane into like the ocean or whatever. But like your chances of landing in the ocean and surviving is way higher if the guy can control it, right? Jesus, man. Yeah, look, landing into water.
to brace for a potential impact. Many begin writing farewell notes to their loved ones. The flight attendants try to calm everyone down. 44 minutes after takeoff and 30 minutes after the initial bang, the nightmare comes to an end. Yumi is strapped back into her seat and assumes a brace position. The right wing and one of the engines strike a tree.
Oh.
The plane rolls over onto its back and
that's
slams
so
into a
bad.
mountain ridge.
Oh!
The crash site is here, deep in a remote mountain range in Gangnam Prefecture.
There's nowhere to land.
The
There's no
rescue
water, I
teams
don't
don't arrive
think.
until 15 hours later.
That's
Trees
so
and wreckage parts are still
late.
smoldering. Medics comb through what is left of the aircraft.
Oh my god, everyone's dead, bro.
Yumi will later say the screams of many other survivors kept her awake all night.
They could have survived if they had help.
But at some point,
Yeah, some people
most
could have
of them went
survived.
quiet. To this day, it's unclear
So
how many people
sad.
had initially survived the crash. Experts think it's very likely that many more could have been saved if they didn't
Yeah.
have to lie there all night. injured, out in the cold.
Aww.
It will later turn out Japanese authorities waited until the next morning to launch an extensive rescue mission.
Oh, that's so
They
disgusting.
simply assumed that no one had survived the crash.
That's disgusting.
Apart from Yumio.
Nah, that's disgusting. Yeah, you have to punish these people. That's like negligent murder. I don't know what the word is, but it's like when you neglect and then people die because of that.
Chiai, one other
Yeah,
woman,
go to jail
and 2
for
girls
that.
survive. 520
Like, there's a
people
difference
died.
between fucking
All 4
trying and
survivors
failing.
were seated back here, in the rear section. The tail section has the
Sad.
horizontal stabilizer and the massive tail fin attached to it. That makes it a very solid structure. According to a data analysis published by Time magazine, the middle seats in the rear section have the highest survival rates. But the differences across cabin areas were marginal, and the researchers only looked at a limited number of crashes. The front section of the aircraft can also act as a crumple zone and absorb part of the impact's kinetic energy.
Like a
Experts
car.
told us the odds of survival also depend.
Yeah, if it fucking flips. I don't know what the statistic is, but if your car rolls, your statistic of like not getting like deathly injured or what is it called, fatally injured, it goes up significantly when you roll, because obviously any vehicle that rolls, it means that you're either moving your head, snapping your neck, or like basically your head is the most important thing. Yeah, like you fucking rolling is the worst.
heavily on how the plane hits the ground.
Yep.
That is, if it comes down in one piece.
Oh my god. This one I know. This one's insane.
This is Juliane Koepcke.
Yeah,
She is
the
17
in
years
Lima,
old and goes
Peru.
to school in Lima, Peru. Her parents are renowned biologists at a remote research station in the Amazon rainforest.
Yep.
It's Christmas. The night before, Juliane attended her end-of-school prom and graduation party.
The story is insane.
Her mother had flown in for the occasion. Now the two are eager to get back to her father so they can at least spend New Year's together.
Aww.
The research station is located deep in the jungle. First, they have to fly to Pucallpa. From there, it's several days by boat.
What?
All flights from Lima to Pucallpa are fully booked,
Wow.
except one. Lancer Flight 508.
Ooh.
Juliane and her mother hesitate. Her father explicitly warned them about Lancer.
Uh-oh.
The airline was only founded a few years prior and already lost 2 aircrafts in crashes. Leaving Lima the day before,
Should've listened to Dad. Jokes aside, that still sucks,
was
man.
not an option though. Juliane didn't want to miss prom night. So the two end up boarding a Lockheed L-11 Electra. Juliane sits in seat 19F in the second to last row. The plane takes off. Because it's Christmas, the mood on board is festive. The flight is scheduled to be only 1 hour. 20 minutes in, the crew starts serving breakfast.
Okay.
Juliane looks out of the window at the rainforest below. Then the plane starts shaking.
Uh-oh.
A massive wall of clouds is building ahead of them.
This time is completely different from anything I've ever experienced. The pilot doesn't go around the storm, but
He
flies
goes
straight
in.
into
Yeah.
hell. The world outside turns dark in the middle of the day. Bolts of lightning keep
That
flashing
shit's terrifying,
all around us.
dude.
At the same time, an invisible force starts shaking the plane like a
I cannot imagine, because I've flown from New Zealand to Korea, and for whatever reason, there's some really turbulent like areas in Korea, like right before you descend into like basically the peninsula. Yeah, the peninsula. Is it an island or peninsula? No, it's a peninsula. Once you hit that, apparently there's really turbulent shit, and it's like fucking insane. I remember being so scared, I started crying on the flight when I was a kid, and my mom was like trying to calm me down. I can't imagine. This is probably a million times worse. And it's like you're basically rattling and moving up and down the whole time, and you can't control it at all. It's super scary.
small toy.
Yeah.
Luggage flies through the cabin.
It wasn't that bad, but it was
Passengers
pretty
scream
bad.
and cry. Juliane will later say she saw a gleaming white light above the wing. Then the aircraft starts plummeting towards the ground. At around 3,000 meters, it breaks apart.
Oh no!
Juliane is ejected into the void. She is still strapped to her seat.
This
The
is
next
such an
thing I
insane
remember
story,
is hanging
man.
with my head down, while the jungle approaches me in slow circular motions.
Oh my god.
But it's not the jungle that's coming toward me. I am the one moving toward it.
Oh my
The
god.
treetops are grass green and dense, and they remind me of broccoli heads. The images are blurry. I see everything as if through a veil. Then darkness surrounds
She
me again.
survived. If I remember correctly, she tracked through the jungle and she remembered. This is like an actual book that she wrote herself. I read it a long time ago and I thought it was so scary. She's unironically one of the bravest little girls ever. She actually trekked through it and remembered everything that her parents taught her because they were like researchers that lived out in the jungle, and that's one of the only reasons she survived, because if you're just some person, you wouldn't know what to not touch and what you can eat. It's insane. Like, it's actually one of the craziest stories ever.
20 hours after the crash, Juliane wakes up next to her row of seats.
Crazy.
She's alone.
She actually survived.
I don't feel any fear, but an overwhelming
If I remember
sense
correctly,
of
she also broke her
abandonment.
legs or
The
something.
crushing realization that I'm alone.
Yeah.
My mother is gone, although she was sitting right next to me just
Yeah, my
moments
model. I
ago.
know it's broken.
Her seat
Just
is
wait.
empty.
Juliane starts walking.
It's broken.
She follows a small stream of water to a river and lets herself drift in the current. That's what her father told her to do if she ever got lost in the
That's exactly right. Yep.
jungle. She survives on some candies she found at the crash site.
Aww.
Along the way, she encounters martens, brocket deer, and caimans.
Yep.
After traveling alone for 11 days, she is picked up by a group of rubber tappers.
Rubber
She will never see
tappers.
her mother again.
Yep, her mom died.
Juliane is the sole survivor among the 92 people on board. To this day, it's
If
still...
I remember correctly, she broke her leg too. I want to look it up. Juliane Koepcke. Yeah.
largely unclear how she could fall from 3,000
Maybe
meters and live to tell.
Oh, she broke her collarbone and she walked all the way. Yeah, ruptured knee ligament and broken collarbone. Yeah, and she walked through for 11 days.
She thinks
Yeah, that
she
hurts
owes
so
her life
bad,
to
yeah,
a
she had to
combination
deal
of
with that
three
shit.
factors. One,
Absolute
storm
Giga
clouds
Chan.
often have powerful updrafts beneath them.
Mhm.
The vertical flow of air may have slowed Juliane's descent. 2, the row of seats she was strapped to may have acted like a parachute, like a rotating propeller that reduced the speed of her fall.
Wow.
3,
That's lucky.
the entangled lianas of the rainforest may have formed a kind of natural safety net to cushion her impact.
Wow.
In this case, where she was seated most likely didn't matter. Reuters reached a similar
That's just pure luck,
conclusion.
honestly.
Survivors of aviation disasters usually come from every part of the aircraft. In some cases, the only survivors are seated at the very front, in the cockpit.
Cock.
For pilots, takeoff and landing are the most critical phases of any flight.
Yeah.
That's when most accidents happen,
Yeah.
partly because planes are more vulnerable to external factors during these moments. That's
And
why
other
aspiring
ones.
pilots have to go through a rigorous selection
Yeah.
process. Candidates first have to prove their resilience to extreme physical and mental stress.
Yeah.
Then they face
Lots
the
of
airline's
math.
demanding recruitment tests. Only a few make it through the entire procedure.
Mhm.
And after that come years of training. James Polhinky met all the requirements to enter the
Polhinky?
training.
Oh,
This morning
stinky.
he's serving as first officer on a Comair regional jet. The sun is not up yet. Polhinky has logged over 3,500 hours of flying time on this type of aircraft.
3K,
Captain
it's not
Jeffrey
bad.
Clay has also spent thousands of hours in this exact type of cockpit. It's shortly before 6 a.m. 47 passengers board the flight to Atlanta. The pilots prepare for departure. Lexington Airport has 2 runways. Runway 22 for larger passenger jets and a shorter one for small private aircraft. Runway 26. They intersect. To get to the long runway 22,
Ah.
pilots need to cross the shorter one. Both pilots are familiar with the airport. Both have taken off from Lexington several times before, including at night. First Officer Polhinky does not brief his captain about the fact that the taxi to runway 22 requires crossing runway 26.
Oh.
As the aircraft taxis, the 2 pilots casually talk about family planning.
My wife wants 4. I I was good at 1. She wants 4? Yeah, I'd be like, honey.
Clay stops the plane at the junction of runway 26. What happens next is documented in the official investigation report.
Oh no.
They fail to notice the runway numbers indicating they're on the wrong strip. They also ignore the fact that their magnetic heading presets are not in line with their current orientation.
Yeah, where's the tower? Why didn't they tell him
Captain Clay
off?
has control to pull Hinky.
See, that's like multiple human errors because, like, yeah, sometimes people make mistakes, but there has to be corrective checks. I knew a guy at my old apartment that was a tower controller dude, and he said that it's like one of the most stressful jobs ever. Because, like, like, so many people's lives are at your hands. It's not like, not to say, like, oh, doctors don't have a lot of lives in their hands, but, like, if you're a surgeon, it's like one person, right? With an air traffic controller, it's like so many people at the same time.
The first officer sets thrust. To lift off, the aircraft needs to accelerate to 142 knots. But when they realize they're approaching the end of the runway, they're only at 131. Polhinky pulls back the control column. He wants to bring the plane into the air.
Oh
but
God.
It's too slow.
Oh Lord. Oh shit. Oh no.
A local police officer and a public security officer are the first to reach the crash site. They pull an unconscious man from the wreckage and rush him to the hospital.
Oh no.
It's Polhinky.
Oh no.
Shortly after, ambulances and fire crews arrive.
Polhinky.
The firefighters knock down most of the fire within 3 minutes. But it's too
Bro,
late.
did everyone die?
All 49 of the other people on board die at the scene.
Oh.
The crash is what you would call a perfect storm. The official report primarily places responsibility on the pilots for taxiing onto the wrong runway.
Yeah, well, it's
From
the main
engine
one.
start to takeoff, pilots are only allowed to talk about the upcoming flight. The records show they ignored that rule.
Ooh.
At the same time, the
Naughty.
airport charts used by ComAir were outdated, and the air traffic controller could have seen that the aircraft was lining up on the wrong runway.
Yeah.
If he had been looking out the tower cap windows.
Yeah, that's just a fucking
But he had
fucked
turned
up
away
thing.
to handle paperwork. The report also indicates that he was most likely fatigued at the time.
Ooh, then that's another person's fault. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes these fucking fucked up accidents, it's a bunch of people. It's not any one person's main fault. It's like an amalgamation of factors. That means someone else's fault for making him overwork. Sucks.
The people that came on board the plane were my responsibility.
That sucks.
They were mine and Captain Clay's responsibility. And
Aww.
if there's anything that I can say to the family members is that I'm sorry we made that mistake.
Aww.
Because they lost their loved ones that day. And I just hope
and he has
that
to
God
live with
can
that
give
shit.
the family members some comfort, some peace, and some compassion so that their burden gets less as time goes on.
That's so sad.
The survival stories of James Polhinky,
He has to live with
Juliane
that shit
Koepcke,
all the time.
Yumi Ochiai,
Yeah.
and
He
Vishwash
didn't die
Kumar
with
Ramesh
them.
have very little in common. In crashes with only a
Sucks.
handful of survivors, life or death is usually a
He
matter
didn't mean
of
to.
pure
Nobody
chance.
really does.
But
Like, come
severe
on.
cases like these are absolute exceptions.
That's horrible. True.
Flying is actually the safest mode of transportation, and it's getting safer every year. The industry learns from every single accident. Regulations change, aircraft designs evolve, devices and mechanisms improve. The odds that your next flight will end in a forced landing or crash are extremely low. An MIT researcher calculated that you'd have to fly
But you're not saying it's impossible.
every single day for 55,000
Yo, Toshi, thank you
years
for the
to die
raid. I
in a
appreciate
plane
it.
crash. And even if you were to emergency land or crash, your chances of survival would still be very high.
Yeah, that's true.
According to
Because that still means that sometimes you can land in water, or they don't fucking land in like the middle of the jungle.
the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, more than 95% of all passengers involved in plane crashes survive. That figure includes emergency landings, crash landings, and pre-crash or post-crash fires.
Ooh.
Modern passenger aircraft are designed to be fully evacuated within 90 seconds,
Yeah.
even if only half of the exits are usable. But it's still very important that you know how to act in a potential emergency.
My mom and dad, because we flew a couple of times, I remember my parents made me watch it at least 2 times, like the fucking the safety videos. They're like, if it happens, I don't want to hear you fucking screaming and shit in your pants. You gotta know what to do.
Many real-life evacuations
No.
take longer than
They
necessary
made me pay
because
attention.
passengers
Have
freeze
to.
or
You
don't
can't
know
tune
what
it
to do.
out.
So next time you're flying, pay attention to the crew
Yep.
security
It's
briefing
important.
and read
I'm
the
not gonna
security
lie.
card
It is.
instructions,
It is.
even if you're already familiar with both.
Yep.
Try to memorize the number of rows and directions to the nearest emergency
In a
exit.
panic, it's also
This will
really hard
increase your
to
chances
function.
of finding it if the cabin was filled with smoke.
Yep.
Some experts recommend booking a seat within 5 rows of any emergency exit. Also, make yourself familiar with the brace position for potential emergency landings. Controlled crash tests in the Mexican desert have shown that passengers in that position are less likely to suffer
Yeah, that's
spinal
what
cord
kills
or
you, head injuries, just like I said.
Once the aircraft has landed, follow the
It's the
cruise
same thing with
instructions and leave
cars
it as soon as
and
possible.
bicycles and
Do not
motorcycles.
take your hand luggage with you. There have been real cases where people couldn't get out and burned to death because passengers
Yep.
in front of them were too busy struggling with their hand luggage.
That sucks.
If the aircraft lands on water, put on your life vest, but wait until you're outside before inflating it. Otherwise, it could block the way. If you want to be even better prepared for the absolute worst case scenario, wear sturdy shoes, stay sober, and pick the right clothes. Experts recommend wearing cotton or wool because synthetic fabrics like polyester can cause far more severe burns when they melt onto your skin.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, wait, that's
Whenever a
smart.
plane crashes somewhere
Bring your
on the planet,
Alana
it draws a lot of attention. Horror news
Maybe don't
and
do that.
spectacular
You'll
survival
block the
stories are
doorway.
the ones that stick the most. It's easy
Yeah.
to forget that everyday life is full of much greater risks.
True.
Things like smoking, driving a car, or being struck by lightning.
Chat, we've watched Car Crash Wednesday. We know how bad it is.
Maybe there's a simple reason we're so conscious about flying and so captivated by these
Yeah,
disaster stories.
True.
Maybe we still can't quite wrap our heads around the fact that these gigantic birds of steel can actually lift off the ground.
Yeah, that always fascinated me when I was a kid. Well, that was dreary, but also kind of heartwarming, I suppose, that you can survive like that. Put your Crocs in sports mode. Yeah, before the flight. That's right. I have Crocs. They're pretty comfortable. Go check them out, Fern. Very informative. Love his stuff. Love it.